Have you guys been keeping up with all the riots that's been happening?
I have.
Yes.
Protests.
What do you guys think about
There's like riots happening like
Protests, goddammit.
the protests happening in like 12 major cities all over the U.S.
Man, this is our Rodney King. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know, the riots are happening because of the death of George Floyd. So there are people going around rioting, protesting. They started looting, and there's obviously a lot of things that are happening when the looters come out, but the Karens still have to meet their quota.
Are still Karening it up.
The Karens are Karen.
Karen PD.
I feel sorry for all the Karens that aren't Karen-like out
It's
there.
a nice name.
Dragged in there, but
I have a couple of Karen friends, yeah.
But so they've been going out and trying to stop the looters, and there's one specific video from the looting and the rioting where a woman in a wheelchair tried to stop the looters by
A Karen in a wheelchair?
a Karen in a wheelchair.
No.
Next level Karen.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, is that advanced or, because you kind of feel bad for her? And
Professor K.
Professor K. Wait, so how did she try to stop him?
So everyone was trying to rush into the target, right? So she tried to barricade the doors with her wheelchair and then with a knife and start swinging at people.
Yeah.
So she tried to kill people for that's her
That's
way
beyond a Karen.
That's a murderer.
Her store, she doesn't work for them, not affiliated, just trying to do her civil duty of stopping.
what does she think would happen by doing that?
Everyone's gonna be like, yes, Karen, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I guess in her mind, most
Is a vigilante. Like
Yeah.
I feel bad. I feel bad for her because like if any of you guys have been in high school, you've seen like a rumble. Teachers get trampled, you know? Like when people are in that wild state of mind, they're not gonna listen to anybody.
but those are people that are supposed to stop.
True.
This like when things happen like this, you should not. Well, at least from what I've learned and a lot of different things, you don't put yourself in a situation where other people are supposed to stop it.
Especially if you're a lady in a wheelchair with a knife.
Yeah.
And also, who the fuck cares? It's Target.
Yeah.
Like, what is her like?
Target will be okay.
What is her duty?
The national treasure.
Hey, that's what insurance is for.
So there's two videos.
It's not a mom and pop shop, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
The first video is of the actual incident, and then if you guys look closely, you guys can see like her swinging something around, which they say was a knife. And then the second video is her talking to some reporter or something, basically saying like they went crazy, they just started attacking me, and she was trying to play victim.
Oh my god, they put a fire extinguisher on her!
They're throwing shit at her.
Dude! That's like a fucking club. The fog machine just went off.
Oh, she disappeared.
She's covered in it now!
She disappeared.
The looters who looted Target did this to you? You were peacefully protesting?
I was peacefully protesting and trying to block the way so they couldn't leave with Target full of stuff.
Are you okay?
They attacked me from back. And
Why are
from
people
front
so
and back.
fucking shady, dude?
They
Such a
punched me in my mouth, my head. I got punched in the head several times. I got grabbed from
You're trying to
behind.
kill people.
Grabbed my wheelchair. They stole my keys. They stole everything they could off of me. I got maced in the face. I got covered with
You got
Ryan.
fire extinguished,
I've
bitch.
already seen the EMTs and they told me to go home.
Dog, go the fuck
Dude,
home.
you should have got what the fuck, dude? She literally had a knife and she was sticking people with it.
Yeah. So I think one guy actually got hit with it.
I'm surprised she didn't die, dude. Because that is dangerous.
Just getting hit with a fire extinguisher is pretty, because then like if you're gonna jump into something like that,
Yeah, for
especially at that in terms of this is all racially motivated, or like the looting and stuff like that came from a hate crime, to be a white woman trying to stab people
Your
at the
legs
time.
don't even work, and people come and just fucking pull you out of the cart and just start stomping on your ass.
I mean, that's what could have happened.
Yeah.
But
She got away.
she got away, dude. I remember like there was a during the Rodney King riots, right? There was a white truck driver that made the wrong turn.
Yeah.
It was the saddest shit. They had so much like anger at the time. They grabbed anybody that was white. So they stopped the truck, they pulled him out, and they basically like pretty much beat him half to death.
Oh, I remember that too. Well, I only remember that because Jim Carrey, like, on In Living Color, they did like a bit about it.
Oh my god.
So it was Rodney King and Jim Carrey as that white truck driver. It was so, yo, this could never be done nowadays. But it was Jim Carrey as the white truck driver, and he was like, and he's all cross-eyed. He's like, yeah, I just took a wrong turn, and I don't know what happened. I just, I think I remember that. And then he's like, can everybody just get along?
Stuff like that, like if that's like what actually happened, just a wrong turn, that's pretty sad. But with the incident like this, like
She's asking for it.
do you watching it because we all kind of laughed? Do you feel bad for laughing, or?
I don't feel bad at all, man. I mean, like, well, at the end of the day, I feel like just as a human, it's sad to watch any of that crazy ass chaos. But at the same time, I think it's kind of funny watching someone get fire extinguished.
And that's a pretty small thing for trying to stab people.
That's true. Like, you don't go into a crowd of angry people and put on a fighting stance, and for her, in her case, it's a fucking knife. And expect nothing to happen to you. You know, like,
especially when it's like, for what? It's Target. Like, who cares? You know?
But it is funny because she's like, it's almost like she's playing like rock paper scissors. She holds a knife and she goes, she's like, fuck, I didn't know I had this fourth option.
So I saw this video this morning. Man, I should have just prepped it for this because it just popped in my head. But there's some weird shit going on, right? So they caught this guy on camera, and he had a gas mask on, he had an umbrella on, he had a hoodie on, and he had a hammer, and he was going up to the glass AutoZone windows, and he was smashing it like this, right? And a protester, he was holding a pizza, and he was coming up to him, a black dude, right? And then he was just like, stop, stop, right? And then the guy, he turns around, it's a white dude, and then he doesn't want to be seen on camera, he's closing it, and he's smashing more windows, and he calmly walks away. And the other guy's like, you want to fight, bro? You want to fight? Hold my blood. And then they were going to get down, and they were like, he's a cop, he's a cop. And so right now, they haven't confirmed it 100%, but people that might know who he is, they put a picture next to him.
Yeah.
So it's not 100% confirmed yet, but the guy that they put a picture up of, he's a detective.
Yeah.
So they're saying that, like, to make this movement even more fucked up, and so that the National Guard could come in and whatever, the government is allowing, guys within the department to come out and destroy property and make, and then there was a bunch of guys that came out with pallets, right? All dressed in black, none of them black, all white guys, right? And they started lighting shit on fire.
That's what I'm more scared of, is like the shit behind it.
Yeah.
It's like The Purge.
Yeah.
When The Purge, they weren't getting enough violence, and if you guys watched the movie, like not a lot of violence was happening. They wanted the people in the inner city, like those bad communities, to kill each other more, but they weren't. So they had their people, the white people, or just people in the government, come out and start killing, so they add to the numbers or start like inciting more violence. And it's like, it's what the government does, or like if they're trying to get like a something across like that. So like
that's the crazy shit, right? Because we're now, with everyone having cameras, like we're seeing it firsthand. We heard about it, but now we're catching fuckers doing this shit.
Because he definitely looks like he stands out. I saw the video clip too, right? He has like a fucking, his gas mask is some like real shit.
Yeah.
It's like military grade.
Yeah.
Like his ex-wife came out and was like, the reason why she could recognize him was like that was a very specific gas mask, and he also wore like gloves that were hers, or like he knew. And then she sent that to like, I think like one of his old friends, and was like, no, that's him. Like that's a specific.
So that's who outed him? Because there was a photo next to it. Dude, that's fucking nuts.
are they looking for this guy then? Is he?
It's all being all blasted.
It's being blasted.
Yeah.
It's like, unless people continue to push for it, it could just get let go.
The National Guard is in Minneapolis already, though. Like, they already mobilized that. Yeah. So it's getting crazy over there. And then on the 110 and 101, there's like CHP cars getting bashed in.
Oh yeah.
It's just crazy that like, if again, like with the same thing that happened to that other guy, Abed, right?
Arbery.
If it wasn't for social media, I don't think it would, if the people didn't start rioting and looting. So it's like, sometimes it's kind of saying like, it's bad to loot, but like, I think the cop would have been completely fine if nothing happened.
Yeah, I think society's just reacting to how sick they are, and they feel helpless. So now they're gonna do the thing that you know, we can't be a civil society, and if our system doesn't work, then we're gonna result to being just raged out creatures.
Right.
Yeah, and they're like, be civil, and it's like, well, the civil laws aren't working.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna be civil. We're gonna be animal, and we're gonna raise some fucking hell.
And it's also during this time, don't you think it's odd? It's like during this time where we're all stuck at home, we're all in quarantine, we're all powerless, we're all like, the working class is powerless, you know? It's just, it seems like there's a lot of intersecting fucking things that are fueling the fire.
Yeah, it feels weird to be like, yeah, like fucking, you know, loot, burn shit down, but like, you know, it gets to a point where people get so frustrated with not seeing any results, right? Like, how many times can you fucking retweet or like make a sign before it's like, yo, this isn't doing shit. I need to show them like, hey, bro, like I'm fed up with this, you know? True. Like when you get in that argument with your girlfriend, it's like you can only yell at each other like for so long before you need to like punch a wall. Yeah. You know?
I steal her TV, I go in her room and take her TV out.
Yeah, just taking your TV, light her little pillow.
You say go in her room?
Yeah.
Well, this is something that's been kind of suspected during the Occupy movement. Remember when there were mad protests happening in all major cities, right? So one conspiracy was that the police force or the government was using tactics of using outside military security groups, such as Blackwater or whatever. I don't think they exist now. I think they changed their name, but these guys were hired to come in and discredit protests as violent. So it gives reason for the police to come in and use lethal force or tear gas or whatever, because most of these movements, they're just marches and protests, right? But then you guys, you know, you see these guys are just smashing up windows and start doing this thing, and maybe
there's like hired people that pretend to be Black Lives Matter movement that aren't. And do you know the other conspiracy with like George Soros being the head of that?
No.
Being behind everything?
What's that?
Well, that it's like that where like basically there's Black Lives Matter, which are people that they're trying to start a good movement, right? But then it's like intercepted with so then the violence happens from the people that
and they attribute it to the Black Lives.
And they use the same hashtags. That we're for Black Lives Matter, but they're violent and they do all kinds of crazy shit so that the police can come in or they can escalate it to this extra.
It makes like a group that's like for crime and like
and it further
discredits their
it further divides everyone racially and it's so interesting because I don't know how much of that is true, but it's very
at this time, especially with the world, it's like some things that we always thought were just conspiracy are like coming out. Right. It's like stuff that we would never see or think would happen, especially in our time. It's like happening.
And like during a pandemic, it's like I already was scared of people rioting because of losing their jobs and like being in a pandemic.
You saw those people with all the guns that were right in front of the cops, pushing the cops, spitting on the cops, didn't do anything because all like white people were like, I think that was like one of the big debates is like showing the discrepancy of like people protesting before the rioting and stuff happened, but getting hit with mace cans or tear gas cans compared to all the people that showed up in like full military gear just standing up to the cops.
You mean the one that I think it was in Oklahoma or something like that?
I think it even happened. People were walking around with military gear on like the OC, and they were having like they're standing up to the cops.
But because they were white. The argument is the cops didn't shoot them on sight and all this stuff.
Oh, that's their American right to protest like that?
Well, I didn't get like, do you see how many cops were in front of like the murderers?
Yeah, 75 cops.
Yeah, that was insane. Like that guy's, there's something fishy. That doesn't seem like a normal cop, right?
Wait, 75 cops in front of the guy that kneeled on his neck?
Yes, his house.
What the fuck?
Protecting him. And he wasn't even arrested or anything. And well, now he's been arrested. I just got a notification that he was arrested.
Yeah, I also read on Twitter that he was arrested in Florida.
Yeah, so he fled.
He has a history of this shit.
Right. What? So like, I feel like when all the cops were outside his house, they knew he had bounced already, and it was all like a fucking diversion, so he could get out.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So then he shot someone else. He killed a Native American man.
What?
A few years ago, he broke into some guy's house, beat him with a gun and then shot him in the stomach. And that guy came out on the news like recently.
For real?
Yeah.
So you have a history of like very violent
Towards
behavior.
other races, yeah.
Shit.
The white dude and the Asian dude that's in that George Floyd video, he has a history too with like violence and stuff, and he has complaints on his history. So like they both have problems.
I think he has 12 complaints.
12 complaints?
I recently saw like a comparison, right? So there's a black guy from the same department, and his stray bullet accidentally shot like a white woman and she died. He's got 12 and a half years sentenced as a police officer, right? And they're saying like, would the same thing happen to this guy?
The blue veil doesn't even protect all of the blue.
It doesn't, maybe it doesn't, because that other guy got sentenced to 12 and a half years.
Oh, bro, I also saw on Twitter that they did the autopsy of George Floyd, right? And they said they did not detect anything actually choked him. They said it was his pre-existing medical conditions.
And who did the autopsy?
Right.
The police department? Who?
And
I don't know.
Either
right?
way, like what ignited those pre-existing conditions? Like, and either way, that treatment is not constitutional. Like, that's not.
There's all these other people coming out showing them like being. It's funny because it's like their kids putting their knee on their neck and being like, "Look, I'm fine."
Oh God, are you serious?
Who is fighting for this guy? That doesn't make any sense.